Welcome back to the Dreamlet Podcast. Today I have my friend Haurjie with me. And we're going to talk about our YouTube journeys because both of us started YouTube. I'd say for me about 2 or so years ago. How about for you?
Officially, my channel started in 2014. I don't exactly remember which month, but 2014. And I had a theme back then, which it's no longer continued because I started a completely new theme in 2018. So basically, 2014 did a whole fitness channel for about a little less than a year. And then I stopped doing it because I found out that I didn't enjoy it. So then I took like maybe a 3-year break, just trying to figure out things. And it kind of just came out of the blue that I decided, hey, I want to pick up my channel again and decided to do tech, which is my other passion. So more on that later.
What's your channel called, by the way? Just so if people wanted to look it up, they can find it.
Sure. So channel name has still something like an ongoing dilemma. But right now it's currently just my first name. It's Haurjie, literally just Haurjie, spelled Haurjie. And the reason why I stuck with this as of right now, at least, is because I'm the only Haurjie in the world.
Really?
I am the only Haurjie in the world.
You're the only Haurjie I know, that's for sure.
Yeah, like when you have a name like Haurjie, I'm not boasting or anything like that or think I'm special or anything, but growing up through school, teachers, students, friends, people, peers, everyone for the most part has trouble pronouncing my name and just don't recognize my name or have a question like, what does your name mean? Or like, where did you get that name? Or where did it come from? And it was just like, just through growing up and recognizing that there are no other Haurjies in the world, at least through Google, I've tried, I don't know personally any other Haurjies. I may have met other people who have similar names, definitely not spelled this way or sound this way. But yeah, it's just...
Yeah, that's a cool fun fact. I didn't know that.
So my channel name is just Haurjie. It's a tech channel. So yeah.
Yeah. And recently, I've gotten about, I think it was 8,000 subs for Dreamlet. And that's really cool for me. I'm really happy about that. But for me personally, I've always been more interested in achieving a certain level with my content. I think that's what would make me happier if I see my content like quality increase and stuff. But that's a tangent. I was going to ask you like what your subscriber count is at the moment.
Right now, sitting at 3.5K
Nice.
subscriber.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's growing pretty organically.
Yeah, and then I remember looking like a few months ago, like it grew quite a lot.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to have like this consistency in terms of growth. I just know that I've been consistent with my content. So that is more important to me, like knowing that I can put forth something like effort and sort of create the content that I have, like the visions, and put it down into and form it into a concrete product. And that's what's more important to me. I didn't really expect it to be gaining like 300 new subscribers every month for the last 7 or 8 months. So yeah, I think that's that was pretty eye-opening.
Nice.
And also for you, like every now and then I would look at your channel just to see how you're doing, because I remember when we first started together, we kind of had the same ambitions, we have the same like mindset, and also sort of the same lifestyle too in terms of what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
And workflow, we understand like we have similar interests too in terms of like life principles and philosophies. And that's kind of why I am so drawn to like your type of work, and I am supportive of your work on Dreamlet.
I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, it's because it does align with what I feel about life. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I've always felt that we definitely vibed when we met at that 24-hour fitness for the first time.
Yeah.
That's how we met. That's so strange. Like we just met because I was playing music and then you asked me about the music and I was like doing flares or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It
was at the gym.
Cause, totally. Like music is, I met Scott in the Group X room, and he was breakdancing and listening to, I think, New Jobbies or something along those lines.
It was that and like DJ Okawati and stuff like that.
Yeah. Those, and like, I was like, dude, nobody else knows about DJ Okawati except for like me and like one other friend, my college roommate who introduced me to it. He's my roommate, or former roommate.
I'm sure a lot more people know now, but
yeah. But it's like that genre, that culture, that style of music. There's definitely a group for it, and I just haven't come across many.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very funny because like I don't often meet people that way, like just strangers, and then actually become friends with them. Yeah. So that was really interesting. That like our sort of friendship is interesting to me.
Yeah, and we just happen to be going in this in a similar direction or same direction in terms of where we want to be headed with this whole YouTube career and hobby and passion. And we also have, I want to say we have like similar upbringings too, and also like education backgrounds as well. So there was a lot of factors that we have in common. So yeah.
Yeah, so let's get back to your tech channel. What made you switch from fitness to tech? I know you said you eventually found out you didn't like doing fitness videos, but what drew you to tech? Because tech is a very, I don't want to say oversaturated, because I feel like everything on YouTube is oversaturated in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very competitive, I'd say that. Yeah.
All right. So just that question alone, I'm about to branch out, possibly rant on a lot of philosophical perspectives here, because I can, and I think it's also needed to be said, especially for those who are listening and are thinking about, how you have this back in your mind. You want to experiment and explore a little bit with, your own business and your own brand, or you want to branch out and be your own creator, etc. Okay, so bodybuilding and fitness has been a part of my life for now in 2020. I started back when I think it was 2007 or 2006, so well over a decade. And prior to bodybuilding, I was also into martial arts. I was a martial artist for 15 years before getting into weights. And physical fitness and activities like that has always been like part of my life because I grew up as a nerd. I was a gamer. I loved comics. I loved the whole superhero universe. And, like no joke, when I was in second grade, my teacher asked the whole class to get out a piece of paper and write down exactly like what you wanted to be when you grow up. Some of the other kids were writing down, no offense to anybody who's writing down like generic answers, like firefighters, police officers, doctors, astronauts, etc. Right?
That's what we all wrote down when we were kids, right?
Sure. Like at some point, I wrote that stuff down. Like
I remember as a kindergartner, I wrote down firefighter. And I was like, why did I write that down? I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, you're a kid. Like what you ask a question like by your parents or something, or by your teachers, like, what do you want to be for the rest of your life? I'm like, I don't know. That's like a huge loaded question, But my answer, I remember specifically in second grade, was I wanted to be a street fighter. I wanted to be a street.
I remember the story. I remember the story. Yeah.
I wanted to be a street fighter because I was interested in martial arts. I was playing the game Street Fighter, and that was one of my favorite games growing up.
Oh, yeah, I love Street Fighter too.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2. Like, dude, I could
Street Fighter Alpha 3. That one was one of my favorites.
For sure. Yeah, Alpha 3 I never got into, I guess. I think when that came out, I was past the Street Fighter phase.
Oh.
But yeah, I was Street Fighter 2 Turbo, a little bit older. But yeah, so like I wrote down I want to be a Street Fighter, and during the PTA meetings, my parents got called in, and my teacher, I remember like my teacher saying that, I don't think I was really listening to the whole conversation, but I remember my mom telling me that you wrote down you wanted to be a street fighter, and that caused certain problems or like questions or confusions with my teacher. And but yeah, that was that. And going into fitness and eventually, like, I knew that the closest that I could get to these comic book heroes and, video game heroes that I grew up with was just to go to the gym. And I love that activity and that lifestyle, just to build myself towards something that is iconic, but yet not realistic, but I'm going to try to achieve it as close as I can. And that was, that is something that I really enjoy doing. So the whole fitness thing was something that I thought was going to be my career somehow, some way. And I always enjoyed the entertainment industry. So I figured, why don't I start off by being a personal trainer? And I did. I was a personal trainer for 5 years, trained various people, clients, and I really didn't enjoy being a personal trainer. I love going to the gym. I still do, like, every day, 2 hours of lifting. And I don't enjoy going to the gym for 8 hours training other people.
I see.
That it's a whole different thing. And you won't really know, even though you might enjoy a certain hobby or a passion, it doesn't always translate to a happy and healthy career. And this is the number one important point that I want to drive across for anybody who's listening, is that you may feel that you really like doing something. It doesn't always translate to a healthy and happy career. And the only way that you're going to be able to know that for sure is if you actually go through it. So moving on to the whole YouTube fitness channel. Now, when I did run that, I also found out that I didn't enjoy it through trial and error. I thought I would enjoy it. It's not personal training, but it's still fitness related. Hey, I love the entertainment industry. I love media productions. I love, content creation. Figured that sounds logically, a good decision.
But when you started doing it, you found out that you didn't like it.
Oh, geez, no. I think I enjoyed it for the first maybe month, but after the first month, it was just like, I gotta power through this. I gotta just willpower through this. It seems so much like a drag. And it's, I spent every gym session that I go to, it'd be like, spend an hour doing 2 or 3 exercises, like 15 to 16 sets each, just because it never came down to the exercise anymore. It was all about getting the best shot, the best angle, the best lighting. Oh, shoot, somebody walked past. Oh, it was too loud. Or something, the weights bumped the camera, whatever it is.
Got you.
The
process of actually getting the footage and filming it was getting in the way of what you actually liked about the exercise.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It took that away from me. And, I realized that I didn't have the budget to hire a team. This is what you needed, really. And I know there are a lot of fitness YouTubers and content creators and Instagram models that do this solo, which, yeah, that's fine. If you find a process and you find out a system that works for you, all the power to you. The shots that I wanted in my mind, my vision, the content, the footage, I was never able to achieve by myself. And it was never possible by myself because I'm also a cinematographer and I definitely need an extra pair of hands.
Either that or a robot.
Yeah, that or a robot. But as you can imagine,
super expensive.
Right. And then as you can imagine, that would also bring in technical issues of its own and also logistics. Okay, you're in the gym, you're trying to work out at the same time while trying to film, but then you're also going to be spending 5, 10, 15 minutes trying to set up the right, camera movements and everything for the robot to do it automatically. But then by the time you get that all set up, then it's like you lost your pump. Now you don't want to work out anymore. You don't want to do your next exercise, your next set, etc. And the whole thing's why don't you just get a friend or somebody else to film for you? Have and tried that, but the thing with art is that it's very difficult to find someone who shares the same aesthetic and the vision that you want in terms of the movement. So it's, I never found someone who did something or gotten the shots that I wanted, the results that I wanted. So it's one of those times, only if there were 2 me's, right?
Yeah. So you'd have to be very good at directing and basically giving them exactly what you want. And then you'd have to somehow communicate it in a way where they're like, yeah, I got it fully. And then they can do it. And that's very difficult because I've experienced something similar sometimes because, I make videos with gymnastics and tricking once in a while for fun. And I think that's what actually keeps me making those videos because I only do it for fun. and I'm not trying to do it for a career. But I have experienced the whole like this recording thing is actually getting in the way sometimes. And I have experience where I have like my friends recording me, and even though I communicate to them what I want, it doesn't always translate.
Oh no, no. It's very difficult to find someone.
It's also difficult to like always have to ask someone to do it for you, because that's like a hassle in some ways.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
Our age, everyone's working and stuff. So
oh yeah, absolutely. It's like you don't want to bother them, and even if someone who understands the technicalities and how to operate a camera, etc. There's that, and then also it's having that the photographer's eye in terms of getting the right shot. So through the fitness YouTube journey, I found out that I didn't enjoy the process of being a fitness YouTuber, and it just that's why I stopped. And I realized that through that, I actually enjoyed the process of filmmaking more so than the I guess everything else. It was more important. It was on the priority list. Filmmaking, getting the best content and the footage, and editing was like something that kind of grew and out of realization through that. And it's like, okay, but I still want to be a YouTuber. I still want to be a content creator. But now it's like, what other passions can I test? And I look at, other things that I spend my time on. I spend a lot of hours playing video games, playing PC games, looking into comics and things like that. I want to do something towards that route, but I also love tech, and that kind of ties into the whole gaming industry. So I decided to start off with something that I wouldn't say a master at, but I know sufficient amount of information, and I also do enjoy, but doesn't get in the way in terms of like physical like stress and taxing like I had with the fitness channel. Tech is a little bit more laid back in that sense. Like, I can just, it's not based on my energy level, I guess, not as much.
Yeah.
So there's not,
most of it is more controlled.
It's more, yes. Good. Yeah. That's well
especially
put.
Like for fitness, when you record things at a gym, so many people.
There's like, so many
things that can get in the way. Even recording outside for tricking, or
weather, environment, lighting, like just nature stuff that you can't really control.
Yeah. But I do find it fun recording outside once in a while. Yeah. It's just harder to do, and it takes more energy to actually engage in it. So tech, and also like my stuff for Dreamlet is far easier to do because I just have to sit and edit software stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So going in now, 2018 is when I started tech, and moving forward with that, like I actually did a lot of research, and I actually purchased a course for like I think $200 or $300. One of the content creator mentors that I found, who has a well-established like channel, 1 million subscribers, etc., teaching people how to create content, understanding social media, the algorithms, the process, human psychology, consumer psychology, search engines, how to really optimize and capitalize on that whole process and that business. I'm glad I spent the money and actually put into that research before I made my first video. And my first video that I put up was the returns definitely showed. And instead of just blindly spray and pray content and hope that it goes viral, I don't think that is absolutely not the way to go. Something to be said about risk taking is that a lot of people don't do things because they're afraid of risks, which is completely understandable. But what people need to understand about risk is something I read in one of the books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think you've read it as well, right? Yeah. He said that risk is a risk if you don't know what you're doing. But if you know what you're doing and you've done the research and you understand, you have the knowledge, and you actually did all of that work, then it's not so much of a risk anymore. Then it becomes business. Then, that's an opportunity. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's a good quote.
Yeah. So, Robert Kiyosaki is a very good author in that book. So, ongoing with tech now in 2020, I've learned a lot of, I guess, tech skills, technical skills in terms of media productions that I thought I did a really good job on, but now that I look back, it's like 2 years ago, I thought my video was awesome, but now it's like cringe. Like, I mean, it's not.
What was
bad,
your
but
first?
It's not great.
Yeah, what was your
but
first one? What was your first video for tech?
It was. I think it was like my 2018. Yeah, it was 2018 PC gaming setup or content creation setup. My desktop set, my studio setup. You know?
I think I remember watching that one.
Yeah, it's like a red and black theme. And you know, I shot that on my smartphone because I didn't have a DSLR. I didn't have a professional camera. And I want to, you know, kind of test and prove something to myself that you don't need to spend a huge ass budget and all this expensive equipment to grow and to, you know, make good content. No, absolutely not. I shot that on my Pixel 2 XL and it got really good amount of views for at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like I only had 100 subscribers or something like that, and it got like 1,000, 2,000 views by like
nice
a month or something. It's like, dude, that's the ratio of subscribers to view count is like off of a smartphone. Anyone can do that, you know? And then that, after that, I think my second video was finally got my DSLR, which is a Canon T7i, and just made a bunch of videos with that. And now I'm upgraded to a 4K camera, the Nikon Z6, and I'm super happy with it. And yeah, it's just been ongoing momentum, refining
nice.
At this point.
And you don't even need a camera necessarily if you have good editing skills. You could do what I did, which is buy a mic, which was the Blue Yeti for me, and then just edit stuff together like whiteboard animation or just footage that you find online that's fair use, and then just talk about stuff. Like so many YouTubers do that. So it's not even like something that's necessary if you want to do YouTube. But of course, if you want to record yourself and your stuff, then yeah, you need a camera.
Oh yeah. It really comes down to what type of content that you want.
Definitely.
For example, like if you're doing what I'm doing, like showcasing products or products review, yeah, you want to try to, you want the visual aspect of it. But I think for the most part, this is something I learned from the courses as well, is that audio is actually more important than video, because you can still tell the story with really crappy video, but if your audio is clear or clear enough, people will still stick around. There's a higher chance of people sticking around with good audio and bad video than the other, like vice versa.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's something that's I feel like most content creators know. It's like a universal principle that most content creators know, I think.
Yeah, I think there's like several people that have tested this theory. It's like they start a new channel, they put like a black screen or something, like some just a picture, like a still image, and they just talk over it. And they still get like a good amount of views for a fresh channel.
Yeah, that's a podcast.
It's a podcast. But they specifically tested it on a video platform like YouTube. So it wasn't like a podcast, like a SoundCloud or anything like that. So they specifically tested this on a video-based platform.
Gotcha.
So it definitely is a rule that you guys should keep in mind.
Agreed. So that's something I wanted to talk about too. What are the tools, the software, anything that helped us get where we are? Like if you were to say, oh, we definitely used this a lot, what would it be?
I would say for me, it was always the Photoshop and the Premiere side, the Adobe Creative Suite. I recently just got DaVinci Resolve, but I haven't really made a video with that software yet because I'm still on a good momentum. I'm still learning a lot of new skills and features on Adobe Premiere that I've never really utilized.
Both of us have the Adobe line products, the Creative Suite stuff.
Yeah.
And that's all I've actually ever used, to be honest.
And it's enough, honestly, it's enough.
Yeah, it's more than enough, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some people use like the default like Video Maker or like Video Movie Maker on Windows, or the basic version of Final Cut or something on if you're a Mac user. And yeah, you can still get your story across, your point across, and tell a good story. You don't need something too advanced when you're starting out. And I think like for anyone who's starting out, like just get started. Literally, just get started. Just learn some of the basic skills. Don't stress yourself out by thinking, oh, this big YouTuber, I want to be like this, and they're using all these equipments, they're using all these softwares, all these technical skills that I don't have. So they get overwhelmed, they get swamped. That's not where they started. Just keep in mind, just get started. Okay. use what you know first, and you're going to learn one piece at a time. So for me, it was just Adobe Premiere, Adobe Photoshop, and I delve a little bit into After Effects, but it's not something that I really use much, to be honest. Everything that I need is done on Premiere, and it has everything I need.
Yeah, to what you said, whenever I went through like a course or anything that taught me a lot, or I decided to buy stuff because people said it was good, like equipment, I feel like it wasn't necessarily great for my use, or like once I actually got into doing it with that equipment, I was like, there's a lot of equipment that could be better for this. It really depends on what you're doing, because if, like, say you have a course and you went through the course on how to grow big on YouTube and stuff, even that only has a limited value depending on what you're doing on YouTube. And you only figure these things out when you actually go do it, because it's so hard to describe, because we can't describe it. But when you start doing things, like something in your mind just clicks. Like you just know what's right and what's wrong. And you just know like this equipment isn't the one I need. And then you go get like the one you actually do need, or like the software that you're using. You kind of forget. At least I forgot a lot of the stuff I learned from the tutorials, like in Premiere and Photoshop and stuff. I kind of just use the stuff that I need whenever I think about it. So it's sort of like a learn on the go type thing versus just continuously trying to learn before you start.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Off of that, actually, it is absolutely true. Going back to when I said people get overwhelmed before they get started, is because they think they need all of these things. But when in reality, when they actually start making their content, I've seen a handful of friends who try to do this whole YouTube or content creator type journey, whether it's Twitch on stream or like YouTube gaming or just being a creator on some social media platform. They buy all this equipment, they try to learn all these things, and they take a lot of time trying to get a lot of stuff, and they ended up not using much of it. Is because I asked them, what do you want to do? Well, I want to do this, this, and this. Well, why do you need this 80% of the stuff that you just bought? Like, you don't need that. You just need this. So learn on the go. Yes. I don't know everything in editing, video or photo, but I know enough to get the product, the end product that I have in mind. That's all I need. And if there is something that I want to add in, like an extra effect that I've never done before, then I look up exactly specifically how to do that one effect. And that's all you need. And from there, you will be surprised like how many things that it makes you think about in terms of like branching out. Like, okay, this video tutorial just taught me how to do this one effect. But now that I understand why this effect is done this way, it makes you think about so many other things of how the software works. And you're going to start experimenting like freeform. And that is the best way to learn and actually progress as a content creator in this learning journey.
Yeah, that's exactly how I learned Adobe After Effects, actually. Like there was this huge tutorial that I bought on Udemy, and it was like super long. I can't remember, but it was more than 10 hours of content, I think.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, let's go through all of this before I actually start. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Because going through all of it, I probably remember like 2% of it.
And you probably wouldn't even use most of that anyway.
Exactly. So when I actually used After Effects to build, I think the first video I ever did that was heavily After Effects was my 7 Habits of a Highly Effective Batman video. And that one, I just worked with a lot of images, a lot of like graphics, animations type things, and a lot of masks and stuff. But what happens, the process was that I thought of what I wanted to see. Like I envisioned something in my head, and I was like, how do I make that happen? And then I went to look it up, and then I used that effect. And now that I know how to use that effect, everything starts coming easier and easier and easier, because that one effect actually sort of has, like masks, for instance. When you learn how to use a mask, there are so many uses for them. It's insane. It's like they can basically, the effects that you can do with masks or visuals that you can do with masks, unlimited. So that's sort of how I learned how to do everything. I just basically look it up as I go, and I think about it first. Then I'm like, okay, I want this. Then I look it up, and then that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, a question off of that video that you specifically did is you spent so much. I remember you telling me
Oh yeah, I spent
so
like
much
40 hours on that video.
40 hours on one video.
Yeah,
And
and that was like a 7-minute video or something.
right. 40 hours for 7 minutes. And I would say majority of your hours that you spent, of those 40 hours, probably spent on that introduction or that small effect.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
So now that you've done that process and you learned how to do that video the way you did, going back, do you think you can have redone that video much easier and faster? Not because of that particular process, but did it give you a specific knowledge or skill set that made you think, oh my God, I could have done it this other way? That would have.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Because I did things the slow way in that video sometimes. Because just having new skills, just knowing what the proper way is of doing it.
Yeah,
I could definitely do it faster. I learned it over time.
Right. And also a note for anyone who's also listening about to this is that may very well be a necessary starting point. Like you listen to someone who put in all of these hours and all of these, efforts into making this one small little product, this one small little outcome, take that and understand that sometimes that might actually be a necessary starting step for you, so you understand how to do things easier and faster in future, paths.
Question for us. Well, for me, how long was our first videos? For me, my first video, my first Principles Elon Musk one, that one it took me about 3 weeks to complete. 3 weeks, and it's not like I worked on the video every single hour of the day, but basically like writing the script. I wish I could say the amount of hours it took, but I really can't remember fully. I just know that from the time I started the video writing the script to the time I uploaded it, it took 3 weeks. But now if I were to go back and make the same video, even without having the research done and stuff, I could definitely make that video in probably 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now looking back, my first video, I think it was over 10 minutes. It was like 12 or something like that, 11 or 12 minutes probably. Thinking back, could I have done it faster? Yes. And now like looking and understanding the niche and genre and theme that I'm in, it really depends on the content. Like sometimes it's okay for it to be a little bit longer. Sometimes you want to keep it under a certain amount of time because you also want to be respectful of your viewers' time. And also you have to understand consumer psychology. Like how long do people actually stick to watching a video? Looking back, could I have done it shorter and much faster? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And should I have taken some things out? Yeah. Could I have had better things? Yeah. But yeah, this is my first video.
I mean, that's the life of a content creator, basically. It's like I feel like we're always trying to do things better, but sometimes we just at the moment we add it because we feel like we want to add it. I don't know.
Oh yeah. As a content creator, is very emotion based. Because your content and your project will only be as good as you are. So in the moment, if you're feeling really good about something, it might come out really good. But we also grow as well. So future you may not feel the same way as what you currently are.
Agreed.
And yeah. So
it's sort of like me. Like now, for whiteboard animations, I'm very bored of it. I feel like I've outgrown it because there's only so much you can do with the whiteboard animation, and it has a cap in terms of production speed because of the software. It's pretty limited in that sense because one, not necessarily just the rendering time, but I can think and move faster than I can edit, which is maybe my computer's fault as well, but but I feel like I can edit faster in like Premiere or After Effects and stuff like that. And so how can I do that in a much more complex program compared to the whiteboard program, right? Because whenever I'm adding an image on the whiteboard program or adding time to it or moving the frame or whatever, it takes longer than if I were to do it in After Effects, which is crazy to me. So that's a limitation on the software. And I feel like I've outgrown it because I can no longer take how long it takes. It's like so slow. And also the style of the visuals, I've outgrown that too, because I feel like I'm trying to develop my own. And if I keep using whiteboard stuff, a lot of people use that whiteboard stuff too. So it's going to just look like anybody else's content. And that's something that I really don't want to, it's against my philosophy as a content creator. I try to create things that people will know it's from me, because, it's either I have my own unique style or I have people will know it's from me because of my voice, but I want something more than that,
Yeah.
Something that is thought up from me that isn't easily thought up from someone else.
Yeah, I agree. Also, that I think that's also one reason why many content creators who have been working a certain workflow too for a very long time are also hesitant or don't switch to a different software program, is because the amount of time that it costs, like downtime that it costs in order to learn something new and get that same workflow going is also
it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy.
Yeah,
for sure, man. I'm experiencing that right now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to transition out of it, so sometimes I'm using it still, and I forgive myself for still using it. I'm not like, dang it, why are you still using this program even though you said you wouldn't?
Right. Yeah, it's because you know it. It's like people stick with something that they're comfortable.
Yeah,
right?
It's just sometimes it's faster in that sense for your mind when you have lower energy, even though it's a slower program.
Yes. Something to be said about workflow efficiency is when I upgraded my computer to start doing 4K. I'm very happy that I did, because now it's like with my new computer, I don't think I can edit 4K with anything less than like 16 cores on a CPU. Now, for those of you who are a little bit more tech savvy, that just means it's just a higher budget CPU, and anything less than that is like, I'll give you an analogy or like a perspective of what I'm going through. My old computer, a 5-minute 4K project at 30 frames per second took about like 45 minutes to render. Now, a 5-minute 4K video takes about 5 minutes to render. That is the gap between that. Do you know how much time and waiting time and downtime that just cuts out? And also, having your computer be processing and calculating all those renders in the put out that product and the content is stressful on your CPU too. It's a lot of heat, it's a lot of voltage, so it's actually not good. So when you guys are shopping out for a system, a PC, or a camera that can do certain things that you want, just be mindful. Like, a lot of people nowadays, like they want to jump into 4K, even though they're already content creators. They have a very good workflow for 1080p, and I want to upgrade to 4K because everybody's doing 4K. Well, first of all, the first thing that I hear is I just need to get a 4K camera. And then in my mind, it's like, have you done 4K content before? Have you ever created 4K content in terms of editing and all that workflow? I'm like, no, I just know I want to do 4K. Okay, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do 4K and upgrading your quality, but just know that it's not as simple as just getting a 4K camera.
Yeah, and also the data, man.
Oh, the data
storage. Oh my gosh.
Unless you're rich, you want to just be ready to spend money on storage, and also understand how your computer, how long specifically that it will take you to do all of these things. Like some programs can't handle 4K. Some CPUs, like even if your software, some of the newest, or even old Adobe Premiere that I'm using right now, CS6, can handle 4K 30. It can't handle 4K 60. But even though the software can handle it, my old computer was struggling to handle it. The hardware was struggling to handle it. So that's something that you have to be very mindful of, because you don't also just want to get like the minimum. I see some content creators out there right now, like really big channels, tell you, oh, you can build a 4K PC, editing PC for $500. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? My CPU by itself costs $800. That's just the CPU. And that, that's what it took. But yeah, I mean, you can, for $500 PC, you can start the program. I guess you can load up 4K footage into Adobe Premiere,
Yeah.
but good luck sitting around for 3 hours just for it to like, encode everything and, hopefully your computer doesn't crash. Like, how are you going to scrub through all your footage on the timeline without frame drops and anything on playback? Good luck,
Yes.
you don't just want to spend the bare minimum because you want higher quality content. Like there's nothing wrong with wanting higher quality content. It's just be mindful of that it takes a lot more than that. It's
Definitely. I feel like it's tough too because some things you don't know you need until you sort of reach that bump on the road.
Yes.
And then you're like, dang it, I should have got the better thing.
Yeah. And this ties back to everything that we just said about learning on the go, only getting and upgrading what you need. Look up specific answers, specific solutions to specific problems that you are trying to solve in your project. That's all you need right now. And you upgrade all along the way. And
yeah, I have like a creative sort of tutorials that I do on my channel as well. And I think in a lot of them, I'm going to try to be like super specific, even though I know that's not the best for like search results and stuff. Because like, for instance, one of them is the podcast, right? I do a podcast with my friends where we talk about entertainment, like movies and TV shows and whatnot. And we have 5 people. And I've tried looking up multiple people podcasts and how they do the setup and stuff. And I've only ever been able to find like 4. So I can only go off of that. But sometimes like I've experienced things with 5 people that I feel like I have never researched before, So I feel like I have things I can say about that. And in terms of mics and stuff, even though people say, oh, this is a great dynamic microphone for podcasts, blah, blah, blah. That's not actually true for a 5-person podcast or even a 4-person podcast. Like there are some caveats and there are some details that people online don't tell you because they don't know themselves.
Yes, actually, that's a very good topic to talk about because on the topic of saturation, okay, you can say that every genre or every theme that you want to do is saturated, but it's actually still not a bad thing to put out a content on a topic that's already been covered multiple times because every content creator will experience something specifically different, a different issue that another content creator has already talked about. And you're not going to be able to know unless you try it for yourself. Like, not everybody's going to have the same hardware. Not everybody is going to want to create the same video, the same thing.
Yeah, there's always variables to it.
Yes. So putting out, I want to say, for the sake of like time, redundant content is okay because number one, you may cover a topic or an issue that not all the other content creators have covered. And 2 is that if you cover the same things that someone else has already covered, that's actually good for the community. It gives variation. It gives confirmation. It gives confirmation that this specific pattern, this specific product has been proven to work in the X, Y, and Z situation. So it gives more people viewers confidence to go ahead and buy or try certain things and workflows and products.
Yeah. That's definitely true in most cases. The only cases where I can see that as being wrong is if, they're trying to just sell the product.
Oh, yeah.
As like an affiliate or whatever.
Yeah, it's a whole separate subject about like making...
But we won't get into that right now.
Yeah, we're not. Another time.
As a final thing, I want to talk about our ambitions for the future. So as a tech channel, of course, as YouTubers, both of us just want to keep growing and stuff and eventually have this as something that's earning us income so that we can do more of the things we like versus struggling and trying to always find side incomes and whatnot. So that's a given.
Sustainable income.
Yeah.
We're both making income right now from YouTube, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah. But so what's sort of like a vision more so for the tech channel side, not the lifestyle or income side?
For the tech channel, recently I fully embraced the fact that it's more difficult for me to set a very long-term goal. I may have a vision, but nothing that I have like a long-term goal is really set in stone because technology is going to advance so much faster. And I don't know what's going to happen with the tech channel. I just know I have a direction with it. And the direction is just for me to consistently put out the content that I have been putting out now, but just maybe with a higher budget for production value. But I do have short-term goals to set. Even 2 years from now is kind of hard for me to plan. Like I might have an idea of where I want subscriber base wise, but right now as a tech channel, I've mainly been focusing on PC, computer tech, but now I'm starting to branch out a little bit more towards lifestyle tech. Mainly because it's one of my new sponsors, but it's also something that I'm very interested in, just tech in general. If it's something that appeals to me in tech, that helps solve problems, that helps makes people's lives more efficient, that is where I want to go. That's something that I want to branch out. My core focus on the channel will still be computer related things, but I do want to branch out a little bit for variety and diversifying my content with tech. So I want to say maybe a year from now, short-term goal, just 3x, 5x my subscriber base. That's the only thing that I really want to have to, like, I'm really striving towards.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what about you? What about on Dreamlet?
So for Dreamlet, my main goal is to move towards content that involves film. So actually using the camera I bought. I mean, I've been using it like almost every single day for like other stuff like tricking, gymnastics, and we actually started filming for the podcast, the entertainment podcast as well. It's called Blue Lotus, by the way. Probably difficult to find as a podcast just because it's brand new, but probably possible to find on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it was actually a channel I started a while back, but it was just for fun and it was just by myself and I was just talking about like Arrow and stuff like that. I don't really like the show anymore, so we've definitely branched out. But with my 4 other friends there, we've been filming and using the camera and stuff. So I'm glad I get to use the camera and get experience with it. So now that I feel like I have more experience with it and also using my equipment like the lighting and just these mics as well, just everything, you know, I feel like I have the experience to finally upgrade my content by a lot in terms of production value. And that's what I'm going to move towards in terms of my content, just adding more footage from my actual camera versus just whiteboard animations or graphic animations that I found graphics images for online and stuff.
Yeah, like stock photos and stock video clips. They do get the job done. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, like when you start out,
yeah,
you can do a lot with those, but at the end, once you become more experienced as a content creator, you want something more unique to your own.
Exactly. And that's where I want to go for Dreamlet. I want to really make Dreamlet feel like something I'm proud of, something I'm like, not that I'm not proud of my channel, I am, but it's just, I want it to feel more like me. I want it to represent me more.
You just don't think it's done
quite yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You're still experimenting.
It has my voice. It has me talking about things and the things I truly believe. And of course, some things I've learned from experience and my thoughts from before might change, you know, my thoughts now could change in the future, but it has my voice and it has my thoughts, but at the same time, I want it to sort of have my style, have like an essence of me in my content. And I feel like I haven't achieved that yet.
Yeah.
And that's something I really, really want to strive towards for my channel, for my content. So including footage and finding my style, those are 2 really big things for me for Dreamlet, and moving away from whiteboard animations towards graphic animations for videos that don't necessarily need footage. Like say I were to talk about lessons from a character in fiction or whatever, I probably don't need footage of me or footage of anything else. I'd probably just find it all online and, you know, fair use and stuff.
Yeah.
But those types of contents where I can actually voice my style and stuff, that's what I'm heading towards.
Okay. So more specifically, this will probably help people who are listening understand a little bit better. What is an example of, let's say, for example, a channel that you look up to or a creator that you look up to that has a distinct style? And if you were just like browsing through the town, walking through the town on the streets, and you saw an object, you saw an item, you saw a certain something on the street and it reminds you of a particular creator's style. Like, what is one of those creators like, what do they do specifically that builds their style that is very iconic?
I don't know if I could spot an object and think of a creator because I don't normally do that. But
or maybe you watch a video on YouTube and before looking at the name, before looking at the channel name or something,
right.
Then it's like, oh, I already know who this is.
I think one creator that stands, I have a lot of creators in mind, but I think one creator that stands out that really has a style to me is Marquez Brownlee.
I was going to say MKBHD. It's like he has a very distinct style. And then like if he didn't show his face, he didn't talk, he like just shot the footage the way he does, or like, certain colors that put together, like this whole channel theme color is very important for branding. We'd all, I think most people now who know who MKBHD is at this point would be able to recognize
exactly
his style. So
yeah. So that's sort of I think getting to his level of quality is 100% achievable, as long as you keep practicing, right? So, but quality is one thing, style is another thing. And for me, achieving quality, of course, is very important, but I think I'd be okay with sort of having someone be able to identify me just by style.
You can build your style much more easily than the quality, because quality is dependent on so many other factors, especially budget too.
Yeah, and equipment.
And equipment, exactly. I mean, if you have a lot of resources, then sure, you can achieve that. But there's also something to be said about like if you're a fresh content creator and you're not as knowledgeable on the tech side, you can have all the money in the world and buy all the stuff, and you won't even really know how to use it to produce a certain quality or like use it to its best. So which is why like you want to buy a 8K red camera like with 100 subscribers. Why? Do you even know how to use that camera? So I tell people just start with 1080p right now, just for the sake of example. Simple content, lower resolution, master that first. Master the workflow at a simpler level, and then you can actually build your style there. You're going to try and experiment with different styles, but quality will eventually get refined and show itself once you get more experience.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've definitely not used my camera to its fullest ability.
Oh, yeah, because you
Sony
just got
A7
it.
III. Yeah. I've only had it for, I think, 4 months now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But it's been fun using it. And I'm going to use it for my next video. And I'm pretty excited to make that video. I have all of it storyboarded and scripted. I just got to film everything now.
Oh, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so that is pretty much it for this podcast episode. I'm glad that you decided to join me on this episode, Haurjie.
Always a good time with you, man.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see where we're at in the future, in like 1 year or 2 years down the line, and maybe make another episode or something.
Yeah. We'll make 7 figures next year.
Hopefully.